Alrighty, welcome ladies and gentlemen to another Calling All Nerds podcast, bringing you episode 2 of The Nerd Alert.
Two.
I'm Tyler, I just said twice. My name is Tyler, and I'm here again with my amazing host, Max, and we're going to be talking about some pretty cool stuff. What are our topics for the day?
Hey everybody, this is Max. It is so great to see all our returning friends from episode 1. If this is your first time listening to us, welcome. And so the main topics that we're going to be touching on today on the gaming news side, it's kind of been a soft week, but we're going to be talking about Microsoft acquiring ZeniMax, Xbox pre-order debacles, and Tokyo Game Show, really the biggest news from TGS so far this week, on a special acquiring of games coming to PC.
Oh, that's right, because it's all week. The Tokyo Game Show?
Yeah, it lasts until, I believe, the 26th, maybe
So
the
tomorrow.
27th. Yeah, it lasts for like 3 days in total.
Oh, so it's not a day thing.
Yeah, well, it's like all through the day. It's weird because it's in Japan, everything's in Japanese. You really don't see that many news articles about TGS, at least at the beginning of it.
Yeah.
It's really only when news comes out at the end when anything's like translated and it's more understood, but it's a fun show, especially if you like JRPGs or anything Japanese, which I do.
Because that's where Final Fantasy was announced, right? Like when Final the 7 remake, was that a Tokyo Game Show thing? Or was that
No, I think
E3.
I think it was E3.
Oh.
That was like way back when,
okay.
I forget when it was. It was like 8 years ago or something when they first announced the remake of 7.
Okay,
yeah.
well, don't mind me. I guess before we get into that, we want to do another question of the day. We thought it was kind of fun that I think the first episode we talked about what was your first game that you played. And we thought it'd be kind of fun to kind of continue the trend.
So you can get to know us.
Yeah, get to know us a little bit more. So one thing that I also was thinking, we hit what was your first your first game that you played. So now I want to ask, what was the first console that was like that just hit home with you? Like what was the console that you just couldn't let go of?
Oh man, should I go first or do you?
If you're ready.
Oh yeah, I mean for me it was the Nintendo 64.
Okay.
I mean it kind of plays into the first game I ever played, which was Paper Mario last week. One of the greatest games of all time, and I played it at my friend's house on his Nintendo 64. I thought it was incredible. I was like, what else can you play on this thing? And then we played Mario Kart, and then we played Super Mario 64.
Mario Kart's
and
great.
then we played Banjo-Kazooie, another great platformer.
Yeah.
And I was just like, this system is incredible. I need it.
Yeah.
And so literally, I think it was like only a few months before Christmas, I came home after hanging out with my friend Marshall. And I was like, Mom, Dad, I need a Nintendo 64. I need it right now.
Get it!
Yeah, I
Get it
I
for
want
me!
it so bad. And I have awesome parents. And like, they told me to wait. And come Christmas Day, I was that kid that you always see as like a meme in that like commercial now. I was just like, Nintendo 64!
You're like the kid in the commercial.
Oh yeah, and they bought it for me. They got me Paper Mario, and then they got me Banjo-Kazooie, and I became a gamer at that point. I was just off to the races. I played that console so many times.
Okay, so your first game also translates to like the first console. That's cool.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like,
Nice.
Nintendo 64 was the only one that I really knew about. Thankfully, it was a gateway for me into gaming because after that, I saw the PS1 and I was like, okay, now I need to get the PS1. And so I got that, and that's how I became a PlayStation guy.
Yeah.
And a Nintendo guy. And then, my friend had an Xbox. He got an Xbox when it came out. And I would play that with him. And I really loved the games on the Xbox, but I never had the same grab for me as like Nintendo or Sony had.
Yeah. Definitely different games.
Yeah, more hardcore, I would say, more adult. And for me at the time, like I really liked bright and colorful games, or even Sony's like very weird and edgy games.
Yeah.
And like Xbox, I will say I love the original Xbox's just boot up of just the green X just forming from the mold. And I
love the look of the console too.
Oh yeah,
it looks dope.
It was a beautiful console. The Xbox first generation console was so good. The controller sucked butt.
It was so awkward.
The most awkward controller.
Oh yeah, I do remember that one.
But yeah, like I just started getting into gaming, and then it just went from there, and I enjoyed all of it.
Nice. Yeah, my console is definitely different than the first game. So the first game was Mario. I told you on the NES.
Right.
But I would say like the console that really hit me home. Now, I'm a huge Pokemon fan, but it wasn't a Game Boy. It definitely was not a Game Boy. It was the PS2. The PS2 was the console that, like, I just couldn't let go. It's still in the living room. Like, I still have it hooked up to, like, a small little, like, standard definition TV. It still uses all the aux. It still works, which is the best part. But that was the console, like, I couldn't back down from. So I had the PS1. Mm-hmm. But for the PS1, we didn't really get many games. We had a few. It was like the console came out. I remember getting it. And then it had, like, that demo CD that came with it. You remember when consoles had, like, demo CDs?
It would kind of give you an idea of the graphical quality of it and everything.
I played the crap out of that, but I didn't get many games afterwards. My parents didn't really, like, buy more, but I didn't ask for more because I wasn't, like... I was still, like, always outside. I wasn't really into games yet. Like, I enjoyed them. They were fun. But then I got the PS2, and I remember the first games I got was Sly Cooper... Jack and Dexter, and then I never got to buy it because, again, the concept of, like, asking a parent for a game, I don't know why I didn't. I don't even know if it was that, but it was the Ratchet and Clank Going Commando demo, and I guess in my head I never thought to be like, oh, I should maybe ask for the game, because I would always get to the part, it would let you do one mission and then it would say, like, buy the game,
right? And
I'd be like, well, that sucks. But yet, I wasn't afraid to ask for games. Like, I know I bought other games. I don't know why. I always wanted to play it. I never did. But that was the console that hit home, was the PS2.
And that was the beautiful trifecta back when platformers were still a thing. Jack and Daxter, Sly Cooper, and Ratchet and Clank, man, those games were incredible.
I know.
They were so good.
I know. And I guess it's like, that's kind of what started my Sony journey, too. Like, I was very Sony. I guess I've always been everything, though. It was like PS1 to PS2. I skipped the Xbox. I hit high school or wherever, middle school. Whenever, like, multiplayer, I was late to the game for sure. So, like, obviously they had multiplayer before this. But whenever I was in school, it was like playing on the 360 and doing, like, COD 4 or something like that. Or, like, older COD. So I had the 360 and I liked it. Then the PS3 came out and I was obsessed. And the PS4 came out and then I was obsessed. So I've always been, like, kind of geared towards the Sony journey, that was kind of fun. But
yeah, I feel like we're in the same space there. I'm like been on the Sony bandwagon since PS1, so I'm right there with you.
And, you know, a lot of it is, I always just, like, thought, to me, Sony wasn't multiplayer. And I don't know if that's just because when I started doing multiplayer, my friends were on Xboxes.
Yep.
So to be with them, you know, I got a 360, and I would use the 360, but only to play multiplayer.
Yeah.
I wasn't, like, buying. I can't really think of one on the top of my head, but I wasn't buying single player games for the 360. I was still buying them for the PlayStation.
Yeah.
And so I've always had this, like, notion to me that, like, I see a PlayStation, I see just myself playing a game.
Same.
But I see an Xbox, and I think of, oh, my friend Tanner. Oh, my friend Grant. Oh, my friend whoever. Like, I think of them, and I'm like, I play with them when I'm on an Xbox. I don't just sit in my room alone like I did with like, a PlayStation. And that's probably why I like the PlayStation, because to me it is, I'm more of a single-player gamer anyways, not too much into the multiplayer realm.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I like to play alone. Unless I'm, like, playing, like, a fun Nintendo game with people or something like that.
Yeah, Nintendo also kind of has that family game-friendly kind of thing. But I guess on the opposite side, though, we have Sony, but we also have Microsoft. And Microsoft, they're getting bigger.
They are.
So Sony is at 14, according to this article on the New York Times.
Ooh.
So it said last year, Microsoft passed Sony, owning 15 studios. And Sony had 14. I assume they're probably still around the same. Might be a little bit more, but so they're around that number. And Microsoft acquired ZeniMax just a couple days ago. This article's on the 21st. Oh, this one's on the 23rd. It's a little late. So sometime earlier this week. I don't know the exact date. I think the 21st.
Yeah, so it was like
Monday or Tuesday.
It was Monday, because I remember that was the big news on Monday.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was 21st.
You're right.
So they acquired ZeniMax, which didn't know. ZeniMax owns Bethesda, not the other way around.
Right.
That's what we found out?
Right. It's an entertainment company, and it has, like, several industry game developers in there, including Bethesda Softworks.
Yeah, so according to this little article that we have on CNET, written by Ian Scher, Microsoft's Xbox team significantly expanded its list of game development studios on Monday, announcing the purchase of ZeniMax Media for $7.5 billion in cash.
No big deal.
Cash, dude.
That's some cabbage.
That's insane. The entertainment company owns several industry-leading game developers, including Bethesda Softworks, the maker of post-apocalyptic Fallout games, fantasy series Elder Scrolls, and also owns ID Software, known for Doom, Rage, Wolfenstein, and other shooting game franchises. I think Max has the list of all of them that was acquired, but so they went from 15 to 23.
Yeah,
which is a big leap.
Gotta love. It makes me sad that I'll potentially no longer be able to play id games on my PlayStation.
Well, so I'm curious about that one. I'm not sure because I thought Microsoft says they're not all about exclusivity, but I guess that just means Xbox and PC.
Yeah, I would imagine so. I'm sure that I'm sure this was a huge power play for them. Like this is I don't think we've ever seen an acquisition this big in many years.
Yeah.
So I think this means something. You know, a lot of people say, and a lot of podcasts that I listen to say, you know, that like Xbox and PlayStation, they're not really playing the same game anymore. It's no longer console wars. You know, PlayStation is kind of still old school and going off of consoles sold, whereas Microsoft's all about their subscription services now. They want you to be able to play
Game Pass.
Right, Game Pass, which I love Game Pass. I just wish PlayStation did that. You know, and it's just one of those things where it's like they're kind of playing their own game now. They're kind of ahead of the curve in terms of when it comes to subscriptions and making things easier to just have accessible, whereas PlayStation is very much more complicated. And so, but this is still huge. And, you know, something that, I don't know if you heard this, but like they were saying that Microsoft was saying that, you know, any game that's already been announced as cross-platform from Bethesda they're still going to honor that and still allow it to go into the different platforms. But they said once everything that's already been announced and is known comes out from Bethesda, an id or whatever, they'll be handling it on a case-by-case basis.
Interesting.
Which means that there could be opportunities where certain games, like Wolfenstein 3 maybe, or
a new Doom,
right, where it will be exclusive on the Xbox. And that has a lot of power for them to really it's kind of a scary thought, and I wanted to get your opinion on it, is like, you know, this is, like I said, this is a big power play. If they do go down that route that Sony has kind of in spades of like having these 8 studios through ZeniMax and of Bethesda to say, hey, Wolfenstein, Doom, Elder Scrolls, Fallout, like all these great franchises that people want to play all the time.
Yeah, these are exclusive.
If these are exclusive, what are the odds that people are now going to start vying towards Xbox? And now not only does Xbox have the exclusivity plus that Sony currently has in spades, but they have the accessibility and Game Pass and
the xCloud and all that kind of stuff.
xCloud, pro-consumerism that they're currently doing. If they have both of those in their pocket where Sony only has one, and if they keep going down this road of exclusivity, I could definitely see this being a potential threat for PlayStation.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I didn't know the other part of like if it's been already determined that they'll be on the cross-platform, they'll redeem that afterwards. It's like up for grabs. I didn't know that was part of their thing. That does have me curious. I guess, man, that's tough because you know the Fallout series has always been on everything. Wolfenstein, all those games have been on everything.
Yeah.
PC, I think Elder Scrolls has been ported onto everything. You got Switch,
VR.
you got it all. And so it is kind of interesting to see what they're going to do. I almost wonder though if they really do care about the sale of a console, because technically they would still get the money, right? I mean, like if you sold it on a PlayStation and a Switch, you're just increasing your revenue.
Yeah.
Right? And so, like, do they care?
Yeah, that's a great point.
Like, would it matter? Because, like, I don't know. Bethesda games are big. We know that. id games are big, but are they big enough to buy the whole console for? Like, at least a Bethesda game recently, it'd be hard to say that now because of what happened with like 76, how Fallout 4 was good but not great. There was some flaws that people had about it. 76 was just bad. The way Bethesda was handling like pre-sales of certain things or getting the mobile game, I just feel like Bethesda has recently had kind of like a bad reputation. So I don't necessarily know if a game that they would produce would really make someone be like, oh, I want to get a console for this. I feel it would have to be like let me see how many bugs come out of it. What does Bethesda mess up now? Do I really care? If not, I could just buy Game Pass and play maybe on the xCloud. I don't know. It's like what would be the gain? Would it be better to just say, let's just put it on every console because we own them now and we'll still get the money. And maybe they would only pull in for just simple math. Let's say they sold 100 consoles for this thing at $500, right? So that's $5,000 versus selling double that in copies at $60. I don't know. It's kind of like, let's say they sold 100 consoles versus 500 copies because it's easier for people to pay the $60 rather than the 500.
Right.
And like you're paying the 60 on the PlayStation, but you might be also paying the 60 on a Switch if it's going to the Switch. And I just feel like you hit a harder audience. So if they're going for like we kind of just want to empower players to play the game, I could still see them letting it go to other stuff, at least for major titles. Like the ones that are already there. Like the Doom, the Fallout, the Skyrim. I wouldn't be surprised if new IPs might be exclusive. I could see that.
Yeah, that's true.
Like the new Elder Scrolls, I don't think it would do it.
Really?
I don't think so. Only just because of how Elder Scrolls has always been on everything.
Yeah.
I don't know if they would just cut that off from people. But they do have that new game. I forgot what it was. Something like that. Yeah, it's some space theme.
Yeah.
I could maybe see that being exclusive because that is new. It's 100% new, right? We've already had our Doom. We've already had Wolfenstein. We've had Fallouts and all that kind of stuff. But I could see maybe a new title like this, they would try to pull people in. Because they do it with Halo, right? Halo's not on a Sony console. No, Halo's on PC and Xbox.
Right.
So maybe they would try to do that, where it's like, hey, here's a brand new title, and we want to have this as an exclusive. But the titles that you all love, those are still fine. Those are still across it. But if you want that new stuff, that new, then you have to get that
new.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I feel like
for sure.
I could see that maybe.
Yeah, I get your point. I think that's a good point, especially because Xbox doesn't really, at this point, have a need to be in the same war of Sony. Like it doesn't have to sell.
If they could purchase $7.5 billion cash, I don't really know if they're
yeah, Microsoft. We all knew Microsoft has way more money than Sony has. So this was definitely something they could afford to do.
Yeah.
I think it would be very interesting if like the new IP that Bethesda was to come out with their id was all Xbox exclusive. I think it would just keep driving more consumers to come to their stuff. But I do like the idea of them keeping that inclusivity of just like, hey, or I don't know if I said that term right, but like still give this game to everyone, every console. Because we don't care about selling consoles. We care about getting the game out to people and them being able to play wherever they want. And if that would be the smart way to go about it, because that's where they're earning a lot of goodwill right now.
Oh, for sure.
It is just for being about the gamer, Xbox, Game Pass, all these subscription services where you can like even play their launch titles, their first party titles
day
one,
crazy,
which is insane. And like I
love it.
I know we talked about this last week, but like with PlayStation 5, kind of like their combat to that was like, hey, you get the PlayStation Collection. So if you are a PS Plus member, you have all these great first party PlayStation 4 games that you can play day one of launch. And which is a great deal. All those games are huge masterclasses in themselves, for the most part of them, I should say. But it's still not Game Pass. It's still not this like, how long are they going to be free in the PlayStation Collection? Is it for a limited time? It's a great deal for people that never played the PlayStation 4 era. It's a great deal for bringing in new people to the Sony platform, which I applaud them for that.
Yeah.
But it still doesn't. It's still not building on what Xbox has created. They're still kind of like just kind of stirring the pot and not really, like committing to this like new era of technology of just streaming and subscriptions. Yeah. Which, I get it if they don't want to go that route, and they really honestly don't have to yet. But
for sure,
at some point, that's the route we're headed, I feel like.
Yeah, I know Sony also is offering PlayStation Now free if you have PlayStation Plus. That's a thing that happened too.
Wait, they're doing that right now?
I don't know if it's now started, but that is their thing where they're like, which that's a whole different topic of a thing. But yeah, PlayStation Now is like included if you have PlayStation Plus. At least that's what I was told. Let me check that real quick.
Dude, that would be sick if that's true. I would love that.
With Plus, let's see. I thought I heard these are all 2018.
Oh, well, I'm sure we'll probably hear more about it the sooner the console gets closer. But that would honestly be smart if they did that, because just kind of how Xbox is rolling everything into one. I would love that because I don't want to pay $10 a month for PlayStation Now because I don't know, there's not enough games on there that I'm interested.
Oh, it's a leak.
Oh, it's a leak.
PlayStation Now and PlayStation Plus will be revealed soon, says leaker. Okay, so it was a leak. There's speculation. I apologize for that.
Okay.
So there's speculation that PS Now and like PlayStation Plus could be kind of like lumped together.
Cool.
So it's almost like, which it's like, I love it. I also hope that they boost their servers because it does kind of blow.
Oh, yeah. Dude.
If you don't have internet,
or
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's bad. Which I guess if you don't have good connection, you might not have PlayStation Plus anyways. I'm not really sure what the drive to get Plus is for some people. But that's interesting. That could be a power play, too, of saying like, hey, no one really buys PlayStation Now, so if you have PlayStation Plus, you'll get it with it, and maybe that'll help. Maybe that'll help people. I don't know. But the one thing I am excited about them acquiring ZeniMax that has Bethesda and whatnot is also because of the other companies that Microsoft owns. So they have like Obsidian, which I think is hilarious.
They're so good.
I also heard, I think like Mojang got like mad at Bethesda. They had like a fight at one point. It's kind of funny because now they're both under Microsoft. I don't know why. I thought I heard someone say that. Again, that's awesome. This podcast could be having some very controversial topics that I'm not 100% on.
You're totally
right. But I just think it's funny how like, to me still, Outer Worlds was a way for Obsidian Games to be like, you didn't let us make another Fallout game, take that, right? And they produced Outer Wilds. So now, in theory, I don't know if it'll happen. It might not, but it could. Because Microsoft owns them, if someone high up in the ranks really wanted to, they could just say, hey, Bethesda, give your Fallout assets to Obsidian, and they're going to work on this thing. In theory. Right. That's just kind of based on how, like, obviously I haven't read contracts. I don't really know what's written down. But there is, that could happen.
That would be crazy.
It would be very interesting to see if, like, merges happen. Like, what if all of a sudden now Minecraft's still a mad popular game? Mm-hmm. What if Minecraft now is opened up to all these assets? Sure, you can go online and find mods for maybe like, put Skyrim, like a Skyrim Minecraft mod or like a Fallout Minecraft mod. But like in theory, Microsoft could now use Doom and Fallout and Elder Scrolls as assets. And instead of it being mods and like third-party creations, they could make hey, we're Mojang, we created a Skyrim in our Minecraft server. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like they get, like these companies are now getting availability to assets. Maybe. I don't know what it'll do. It's kind of like, when you play, I'm trying to think of like a Monster Hunter. When you play Monster Hunter World, Capcom, you can have a skin for Mega Man. You can have a skin for like other Capcom kind of like characters inside of your game. And so maybe Minecraft is going to have access to skins of like Bethesda characters, or maybe like maybe there will be, like fun Minecraft lore in a Bethesda. Like, imagine Fallout went post-apocalyptic, but post-2020. Like, let's say the year is 2045,
Right.
and the apocalypse happened in 2020, and you're traversing around, you might see, like, little Minecraft lore, or little, like, Xbox Halo lore, or something like that around the world, because, like, you can do that now, right? Like, you have...
So cool.
Yeah, you have access to these assets. Like, if
Right.
you want to just throw Master Chief as a little doll in someone's game, go for it.
It's
like,
kind
you could
of
do
like
it.
how Sony does that with like their first party games.
Exactly.
Like,
Doom Guy could have a Master Chief skin. Doom Guy could now have the sword from the electric sword from Halo. Like, there's just like possibilities now, and that's what has me excited too. I hope they would utilize it. I'm pretty sure they would. I feel like I don't see why not.
Yeah, I think they would do that. People love to like put in like little Easter eggs like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it does definitely make me excited. I was going to ask, like, just in your opinion, I mean, I know that you said that Bethesda hasn't really come to the plate lately with, like, great games, with a lot of, like, bug-ridden stuff.
Yeah.
What do you think was, like, their last, like, great game? Like, has it been a while? Because I know 76 was a debacle. I know that, like, Fallout 4 wasn't as cracked up as people wanted it to be.
Yeah, so I do like old style like RTS games, and so like I'm playing Wasteland 3. It's like that top down RPG. You select units and you control them and stuff. Fallout 1 and 2 were that gameplay. You had a guy, you would highlight him, you would select where he goes, turn based, you get companions. That's how the original Fallout games were. So those two, to me, were, like, amazing. Because I love the lore that was behind them, but I like the gameplay. Though it is kind of... It's not as popular nowadays, doing that turn-basy, over-top kind of stuff. Not too many people like it. They kind of like that first-person immersion thing.
Yeah.
So I would say, for me, like, them two were big. But I'm not going to discredit, like, Fallout 3. So when I got a PS3... That was actually my first game.
Was Fallout 3?
I didn't even know what I was getting into. Because at this time, I'll also say, too, I played Fallout 3 before I played 1 and 2. Though I still like the gameplay of 1 and 2 more. It's just kind of how I've evolved as a gamer, I guess.
Yeah.
But Fallout 3 was the first game I had on the PlayStation 3. And I didn't really know what it was. I didn't know what open world RPG was until I got this game. And so for me, that's like a big deal.
Yeah.
Like that was my first open world RPG. Because up to this point, like we were saying earlier, it was that Ratchet and Clank. It was
Jack and Daxter.
It was just like adventure, start and finish, not really open world. That's kind of what or Pokemon. that was like where my brain was.
Right, which isn't a huge role either.
Right? And so when you hit this Fallout, you leave the vault, and it's just like, do literally whatever the heck you want. That's pretty big for me, because that, like, man, did that open a door of just, like, so many games. So for me, on just, like, a personal feeling, 3 was, like, their last game that really did it for me. Mm-hmm. I loved what 4 did. I liked the look. I liked the modification of weapons. Didn't like the storyline. Wasn't really into it all that much.
Right.
New Vegas was cool, but I didn't play it too much. I didn't really get into it for whatever reason, though I love Obsidian. I think the games are great. I just don't know why. I just didn't get to it. And then Skyrim was another big one.
But you weren't into, like, the Elder Scrolls games as much as you were into Fallout games, right?
Yeah. I had, I did have Obsidian, right? Isn't that? No, Oblivion. I had Oblivion. And I did like that, and I had fun with that one, and that was fun doing the medieval one, and that was definitely like, I steer towards more medieval style video games anyways. I love magic and swords and bows.
Right.
But I would still say, as far as like for me, what was the biggest one? Because I've played other games in that kind of style that are better for me than a Skyrim and a Oblivion. So I would say, like, for Bethesda only, the Fallout 3 was my last big one. Only because I haven't had another game that's really, like, topped it. until, I guess, Outer Worlds kind of did. But, that was just recently.
Right.
So, up until Outer Worlds, nothing competed with Fallout because I kind of see them in two different routes. I see them as, here's my futuristic post-apocalyptic style.
Yep.
And then here's my, swords and armies and bows and stuff.
They never interact.
No, to me, they're, separate, right?
Here's fantasy, here's sci-fi.
Exactly. And so for the sci-fi genre, I'm still, Fallout 3 was so great. But then over here, I've played just other games that are, a little bit better to me than that.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's really exciting, and they really have such great IP. The more we talk about it right now, the more, excited I am, but also scared that I am. Because, I'm not an Xbox guy, but, I appreciate what they do.
Yeah.
But, I was thinking the same thing about id, where it's, I don't really play a lot of Bethesda games. I never really got into Skyrim or Fallout or anything like that. But, I liked them, but I never could really get into them. But for id, surprisingly, they grabbed me with Wolfenstein and Doom, where normally I don't like a lot of first-person shooters.
Yeah, I'm surprised you like Doom.
Yeah, I was surprised too. I really like any genre as long as I get a good story. For me, plot is pretty much everything.
Yeah.
I need a great story. I need an epic, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Maybe. Yeah. But for me, I would play games like Halo on Xbox with friends. Like you said, when I think of Xbox, I think of Halo 2 playing on the multiplayer maps and Slayer. Yeah. And just hearing that. And Quadra kill. But when I finally saw, I forget, I was playing on my PlayStation 4, and I was I want to try some. I had just beaten the BioShock trilogy.
Ooh.
And some of the greatest games I've ever played, first-person shooters, but the story gripped me.
Yeah.
And I was looking online, I was man, this was incredible. I kind of want to try out more games like this because I'm not great at shooters, but if it has a good story, it draws me into the point that I want to get good.
Yeah.
And honestly, they're not the greatest shooters compared to Call of Duty or anything like that, but and then someone mentioned if you like BioShock, you need to play Bethesda's id games Doom and Wolfenstein. And so I picked up Doom and I picked up Wolfenstein, The Old Blood or something like that.
Was it Doom 2016, the newish?
Yeah, the new one, the kind of the reboot.
Yeah,
I would say.
Okay.
And I fell in love with it. I turned it on, and honestly, Doom isn't even really that story driven, but the aesthetics of it. The heavy metal,
dude, the metal's dope.
The mute, the mute, that was a game that I could not play that when my wife was around for sure. But when I was by myself and I was just in a mood or really just
you just want to do a shooter,
right, in an off day, and I just turn it on and just be
yeah,
and you're just going around with this pump action shotgun and just blowing up demons, and I was this is amazing.
Yeah,
and I love that game, but I honestly think I loved Wolfenstein more because it had the story, but it was this amazing story. I don't know if you've ever played any of them, but
I've watched people I've watched playthroughs and stuff, so I know of the game.
And I've played them all the way up to Young Blood, which Young Blood was kind of a disappointment, honestly. But
was that a spin-off thing?
No, it was
with the two girls.
Yeah, it's the two daughters of the main character, but it was I don't know if it was a spin-off as much as it was kind of an interim game between 2 and 3. But Wolfenstein, the old there's Wolfenstein the New Colossus, and then there's Wolfenstein the New Blood, I think, is the first one of the new trilogy.
New Order?
The New Order, thank you.
Yeah.
I knew it was New something. Yeah, New Order. That's the one that grabbed me. And it was just so cool to hear about this new cast of characters, a world where Hitler and the Nazis actually won.
Yeah, they win. Yeah.
And it just kind of going out there and you're just killing Nazis and you're just trying to bring peace back to the world however you can. And it's so just in your face pulp action, bloody and gruesome. And the main character is so stoic. It's just and then I was in a coma for 20 years. And somehow I came back and it was
all things are fine.
Right, and then
where's Hitler?
Right. I'll destroy Hitler with my own two hands. And just as the games ramp up, it just gets more and more crazed and like completely bonkers. And I love it. I love it so much. And yeah, it makes me excited that we're going to get more of that. But it does make me nervous that I won't be able to play it unless I have an Xbox. But I could be wrong. Maybe I'm being pessimistic about it. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it will be interesting. I'm curious to see what they do. I'm also curious to see when we're going to see what they do. That's another thing. Like, sure, they acquired it, but, like, what really is Bethesda doing right now?
Honestly,
I haven't heard anything, really, I feel like. And then same with... well, I know they're working on another Doom, right? They've already talked about another Doom.
Well, they just released Doom Eternal.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they might be going back to Wolfenstein.
Yeah.
Because they said they needed to do it. They were, like, ending out their trilogy or something like that.
I could see maybe whatever E3 looks like next year, if it's the same where it wasn't an E3 and it was just kind of like Microsoft did a thing and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
I would assume that we would hear something only because of how big Bethesda, or I shouldn't say Bethesda, but like how big ZeniMax is. Mm-hmm. There's got to be something next year. We got to hear something next year.
I would not be. I agree. I would not be shocked if whatever E3 is next year, if it is just an online thing, like if we don't see a new Wolfenstein trailer and a trailer for Starfield.
Yeah.
I don't think Elder Scrolls is anywhere near done, but I think for Bethesda, Starfield is their next thing, and honestly, I kind of hope they have a new engine.
I'm pretty sure
they have to. I think they really need to. Fix it.
So I guess for the viewer or the listeners out there, tune in about 7 to 8 months, and we'll probably be talking about some crazy Bethesda thing. Hopefully,
maybe new IP that we just did not even know was coming.
I know. You know. Speaking of Elder Scrolls, I'm pretty sure all they've done is that teaser. I doubt they've done crap.
You don't think they have?
I don't think so, man. I feel like they just made a super dope looking, minute long thing
Scrolls 6.
just to make people shut up and just be like, look, guys, the thought is out there. It's coming. And I feel like they just wanted to make people shut up. But I could be wrong.
You never know. We've seen crazier things happen. I mean, that is the problem with this industry. We see so many people saying, oh, yeah, this game's been in development for 8 years. When really they only just got past proofing and everything.
It started 8 years ago and then stalled for 7. And now it's back up.
Golly, man.
But yeah, I guess more Xbox talk. We got our Xbox pre-orders that just came live like Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yep.
And if you listen to our first podcast, plot twist, it's the same.
Yeah. So last week we talked on PlayStation 5 pre-order debacle and the... I don't want to butcher it. What's the graphics card? The 3070?
3080.
3080. See, I butchered it. Both pre-order things launched midnight on a specific day. For PlayStation, it was even worse because they retailers were just playing Wild West style. They were just like, yeah, pre-order now. But everything just completely sold out within seconds. Bots were involved.
Yep.
And honestly, seeing the videos that I've seen, seeing the posts that I've seen about everything that happened with Xbox Series X, watching Angry Joe, shout out to their show. It's so funny. Literally, you watch Angry Joe go into... He has 3 tabs open at midnight.
Yeah.
For Walmart, Best Buy, and the Microsoft Store.
Yeah.
And literally within a second, it's sold out, or it's not available, or he gets an HO3 error. And it's the same story across the board for every other streamer on YouTube I watch or view, any podcasts I listen to. Everyone has the same story. It's sold out within seconds, and it makes me wonder, is this bot thing an issue across the board for any kind of pre-orders like this?
Yeah, I feel like it is. I mean, so there's two sides of this. You can be annoyed and upset that you can't get to the console, but there's going to be a point when you will.
Yeah.
There's going to be a point when there's going to be PlayStation 5s just on shelves. Yeah. There's going to be a point when there's Xboxes. There's going to be a point when there's 3080s and 90s and 70s just chilling. It's just if you're wanting it now, you might just have to wait. And that's okay. It'll come. You'll be fine. It'll come here eventually.
Yeah.
But it is annoying because there are some, and it's not towards these people, there are some people who will go online and they'll pay a lot of money to get these consoles because they want them really badly. And I'm not saying anything about those people. I'm more annoyed at the scalpers and the people using those bots just because they know that they can go online and they can sell it for double the price or triple the price. I don't even know. Sometimes they go crazy price. Like, heck, with the graphics cards, somebody will pay a couple $1,000s on a maybe $700 card just because they want it that day, right? Or the Xbox is going out for $500, and I could see someone selling it for $1,000, and someone being like, "Sure, I'll do it because I really want this Xbox," and that just makes me feel so sad.
Yeah,
I just wish that that's not the drive that people had to make this much money and to like pull at these people's desires to just want to play the new stuff. You know?
Yeah.
It just kind of sucks, but
it does.
One thing that really sucks, I've been reading this all over the place, and it says Xbox Series X and S pre-orders cause a near 750% spike in Xbox One X sales on Amazon. So I know it sounds the same, but the Xbox One X is the previous gen console, whereas the Xbox Series X is the new console, right?
That sucks.
So apparently sales of Xbox One X, the previous one, have spiked 750%.
Because people are messing up the name.
You know, pretty sure that there are going to be a lot of unhappy people that have either already looked at their receipts and noticed that they got the wrong one, or they're going to like come home to a box and it's going to be like, open it up and say, this doesn't look like the Xbox that they showed. Oh crap, it's literally the old Xbox One X.
Dang, I don't know if Microsoft thought about that.
I don't think they did, and that's pretty annoying. Because that was always the thing that made people confused. Because you have the Series X and the One X, and the only difference between their names is a 1 or a series. Because you have an Xbox One S, right? Yep. And you have an Xbox Series S.
And what if someone just searches Xbox X? Or something like that.
So
like,
that's what I
super,
did.
Like short.
I Googled. I wonder if I still get that. So I Googled Xbox X, and it brought me to I did the Microsoft Store one.
Right.
And well, that one is saying the Xbox Series X.
But the one right under it says Xbox One X.
I just remember that I did go to the Microsoft Store, and I did type in Xbox. I think either Series or One, and it did bring me to the Microsoft Store, and since there was no stock of the Xbox Series X, it showed me like this is the stock of something like it, and I think they've changed their site a little bit around, but I'm telling you, I went looking for a Series X, and when I saw it, and it was so annoying because it was a bundle, so it was around the $500 price tag.
Yeah.
And I wasn't planning on buying it, but I noticed, I was like, oh, this isn't the new one. This is the old one. But because of like similar, you know how they show like similar products to what you're trying to buy?
For sure.
Because they were sold out, it was showing me an Xbox One X because it's a similar product, quote unquote.
Oh my god.
And I feel like some people probably fell into that. I did.
Merry Christmas,
I wasn't even paying attention, right?
Like your kids are gonna open up these presents and be like, "This is an Xbox."
Could you?
One
Oh my
X,
gosh!
not
I
a
can just
Series
imagine
X."
like a 10-year-old who has a birthday,
Being so disappointed,
and he's like, he gets the console, and it's not even the release date because Prime will let you get these things in 2 days,
right?
And so this kid's like opening up this console, and he's like, "Mom, this isn't the Xbox."
I got a funny story actually, not about Xbox, but kind of pertaining to this. A debacle like this at a Christmas time. It was I would say like 3 or 4 years ago. My mom, they usually get me like a PlayStation 4 game that I just ask for just for fun that I play on like the week after Christmas, and I asked for Uncharted 4. Oh. And my mom got it for me that year, and it was awesome, and it was one of my favorite games of all time. Next year, I asked for Uncharted Lost Legacy, which is like not a sequel, but like a spin-off of the Uncharted series. And literally, my mom buys me the exact same game she bought me last year. And I open it, and it's Uncharted 4 again. I'm like, oh, thanks, Mom.
But do you have a receipt?
Yeah, you bought me this last year. And it was it was so funny. At the time, my mom felt so bad. But like, I was like, it's fine. Like,
Oh yeah, it happens.
I can picture it now.
Yeah.
Boys and girls, I can see that excited teenager opening up that big box on Christmas Day, hoping and praying it's the Xbox Series X, and it's an Xbox One X.
Yep.
And then them having to tell their parents you bought the wrong one.
Especially if they did wait that long. You know what I mean? Right. Like if they really did buy this, and then they're like, well, this is his birthday or Christmas present a couple months down the road. And but yeah, so the bot thing is definitely annoying, as we've seen this week and last week, which the 3090s, they came out this week at even a more limited quantity than the other graphics cards.
Yep.
Same thing, sold out in seconds. PlayStation, all that kind of stuff.
I don't remember this issue happening in last generation of pre-orders. Do you?
Okay, no.
Like for PlayStation 4, Xbox One.
Yeah,
I don't remember anything like this.
It was freshman year of college for me when the Xbox One came out. Not the X or the S, just the Xbox One. And I pre-ordered it fine. I got like a bundle. I did the 2 controller bundle. So I got 2 controllers. I got like I don't know if it was like Forza, or I got some multiplayer game. I got it was fine. I just went on their website. It was like months later after they even announced it, and I pre-ordered it. Totally fine. That was the only console I ever pre-ordered. I've never pre-ordered other consoles because it was always the console came out. At the time, I'd go to GameStop.
Yep.
I would always wait for those like trade-in bonus days, and I would say, oh, they're doing a 40% increase, trade in some old games.
That's exactly what
maybe like if I had a PS3, I would trade it in, which I didn't, but whatever. I would like trade in an old console and some games to boost it up to get the new console and everything.
Yep.
I never had that problem, but it is weird seeing how it is now.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the COVID thing's not helping with like stock, because maybe day release online was selling out fast. Maybe not in seconds, but I feel like before it was like, oh, just wait like a week or two and they'll be back and they'll be fine. There'll be like no pressure.
Right.
I don't know about this now. I feel like now it's like the second Microsoft puts more on there or Sony puts more on there, and NVIDIA, it's still going to sell out. It's going to sell out.
Yeah, it's kind of worrying. I wonder if they're worried about it. If
like the companies?
Yeah, the companies. If like, if their systems are just getting bought by these bots for scalpers, it's like as a company, it would be kind of worrisome of like, how do we release this in a way that it's actually going to get into real people's hands?
And that's the thing. Real people, right? Like how do you get the console into a gamer's hand?
Yeah.
Not a guy or a girl or whoever that's just wanting to make a profit.
Yeah.
And that, I know we talked about it last week. NVIDIA and EVGA, they're analyzing their sales to figure out if it was a bot. I still, even as like a programmer, I'm not 100% sure how you figure that part out. But it's also kind of like, it's not going to be 100%. They're going to find all of them. I doubt it. Right. Yeah. And so it's like, yeah, it is how is it going to go? And if the demand like this is always so intense, these scalpers and bots are still going to do it.
Yeah.
They wouldn't if there wasn't going to sell and there wasn't going to be a point to it. But as long as the demand is high, which again, I hate because it's 2020 and COVID always just seems to be brought up. But I can't imagine that COVID is not helping the situation on a lot of ways. Probably it's harder to manufacture.
Yep.
People are at home, so they want to just play games because you're at home so often. You got to stay indoors and whatnot.
Might as well.
And so I just feel like the demand is so much higher, but the production is lower. Now, I know a lot of this stuff does happen, like production in like Asia and other countries, where things have gotten great. So if you're listening to this podcast in the future, pretty much if you're not in America, you're doing not too bad as far as like a COVID thing goes. I think China got this thing down pat. But it's just like, it's still trying to catch up with when they weren't doing well. Mm-hmm. These manufacturers have just, within a few months, started really getting more into manufacturing, and like, there's weird import stuff going on. I just feel like there's just so much weird political crap that's just hurting to being able to supply.
Yeah.
And I don't know. And I guess always in my head, I've always just thought of a pre-order as like, let's just pre-order, and it's like way ahead of time, and then we at least know how many we should like produce. And I know not everybody will pay at the end, but I feel like it's a little bit better than just being like, oh, pre-orders open on September and it comes out in 2 months. Like, why wasn't it like, I don't know how this works, but why wasn't it like pre-order in February and it comes out in December, and then that way we know how many you guys want. We can produce. You know what I mean?
No,
Again,
seriously.
I don't know from a business perspective if you're supposed to do that.
Yeah.
But it almost seems like, why don't we figure out how many we should make?
Right, to avoid this dumpster fire. Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. It's just so sad that it went down this way. It's just like, it was just crazy. Absolutely crazy.
2 weeks in a row. I wonder what's going to come out next week. That's going to suck. Is there any more? Well, I know the 3070s come out in October,
right?
Which it's crazy that that's next week. But
yeah, time just has lost all meaning at this point.
I know.
But yeah, dude. Like, I mean, at least I can end our game news on a happy note, I would say, for this weekend, where yesterday Tokyo Game Show started, which is Tokyo, Japan's big gaming showcase for their studios. And honestly, Tokyo Game Show is not as hype as it used to be in the past, I would say. You don't get as many game news from them anymore. I mean, you still get some for like random games here and there. But I think it's more about, I could be completely wrong, but it's more about like current games or like mobile games that they're wanting to like advertise or anything like that. Like, for example,
Makes
like
sense. Mobile's pretty big in Asia.
yeah, exactly. And so, and the whole show is in Japanese, so you know it takes a while for a lot of the news to kind of get onto like the main like gaming sites like IGN or Polygon,
to translate and stuff.
right? To translate and to really divvy out what big news there is.
Yeah.
But something that really grabbed my attention that I kind of wanted to go over as this like third, just as this third topic, was the main thing that I got from Tokyo Game Show, because it's still going on at least until tomorrow, I believe, is that GOG, or GOG, as people call it, that Metal Gear Solid and other Konami classics are coming to GOG.com, GOG.com. I actually read this from Engadget, written by Nick Summers, and I thought this was very interesting. It's been really weird to... It's been really hard to play Metal Gear Solid games, I should say, because, for example, Metal Gear Solid 4, really kind of the definitive ending of the chronological order of the Metal Gear games. I don't know if you've ever played any of them.
Yeah, because 5, isn't that before all of them?
Yeah, 5 is kind of like one of the very early ones chronologically. But 4 is kind of like the end point.
Gotcha.
And you can only play that game still to this day on PS3. You still cannot play it unless maybe you can stream it through PS Now. I don't know, though. But it's almost impossible to play anywhere else. And these games don't get a lot of traction on moving to different platforms. It's just really, really weird.
Yeah.
But this was kind of cool news to me that like they're bringing it to PC. They're bringing over, let me see if I have it here, 3 Metal Gear games, Metal Gear Solid 1 and Metal Gear Solid 2. As well as, I believe there was one more. Let me see here. It might have just been those two, actually.
At least for now.
Yeah, right? At least for now. Because I mean, there's right now. I think the only other collections they had out there were Metal Gear Solid, the HD collection, and the Legacy collection, which were all of the Metal Gear Solid games in one batch.
Yeah.
But they were only released on PS3 and PS4 or something like that. So it's kind of cool to see that Konami's allowing them to go to PC. But not only that, they also announced that Konami is going to be releasing to GOG a classic Castlevania and Contra bundle.
That'd be cool.
So that's going to be really cool because basically with the Collector Series, you're getting Castlevania, Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest, Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse in one go. And then for Contra, you're getting Contra and Super C. Which these games are so good, like some of the best Metroidvania games out there, and it's really awesome to see that Konami's finally playing games with people and allowing them to play it on PC. especially because Konami has not had a lot of goodwill from consumers lately, ever since everything went down with Kojima and with Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yeah.
And it kind of brought to my wonder of like, okay, they're kind of making some moves. I wonder if PlayStation's ever considered kind of going back to Microsoft acquiring ZeniMax and in so doing acquiring Bethesda. Could Sony make another power move to kind of play off of that and possibly buy Konami IP or Capcom IP? I don't know if that would happen. I don't know if they have the funds to even make that possible.
Yeah.
But it would be really interesting if like Konami is starting to kind of venture back out into wanting their games back out there. But you never know.
Yeah, and I'm glad I'm glad they chose GOG because GOG is DRM free. So when you buy a game on GOG, which is where I always check if a game on PC exists on GOG first. I always check there. And then if it's not on there, I try to figure out what it comes on to.
You told me this because you own it.
You own it. So DRM free means that you do not have to be online to play the game. You don't have... so I guess if for those who might not know kind of how it works. For a PlayStation game, Xbox game, Steam, Epic, all these services, if you buy a digital version of the game, and now I'm going to assume that's probably for the new consoles as well. Not 100% sure, but I would assume it's still the same.
Right.
If you buy a game digitally, you are allowed to play it, at least on the consoles, offline if you are the primary console owner.
Yep.
Right. And then on PC, though, for Steam, you can't play it unless you're connected to the internet. The reason why is because the code, the like license key is attached and bound to your profile. So the reason why an Xbox and a PlayStation can do it when you're offline is because your profile is downloaded to the console, and so your keys are like associated with yourself. But with Steam, it's in the cloud, and like the way it checks if you own the game is by hitting the API that goes into the internet, and then or it goes on the web, and it says, okay, yeah, Mad Max, whatever your username is, owns the key to this game. You can play that game. It's only can be checked though if you're on an internet connection. Right. Same with Epic. Same with any other kind of PC launchers, and typically with your consoles too. Now with GOG being DRM free, two things kind of happen. One, you can play it offline. You do not need an internet connection. So let's say you buy a game and you're going on vacation, or you're just going somewhere that just doesn't have any internet connection, but you still just kind of want a game or something here and there, and you only have like a laptop to take with you. You can play games that you bought on GOG offline because you own them. Nice. Another downside to it, the other things is, let's say Steam just blew up. You would lose all those games. Let's say Sony, for whatever reason, went away. Any digital game, you would lose those because they own them technically.
Even though you paid for it.
Even though you paid for it.
You don't have...
Yeah, and so even with Epic Game Stores, I don't have an Epic. So when they're not DRM free, technically, not to say that's really what would happen. There might be some way, who knows, but technically speaking, if something happens to companies, you would lose your game. If something happens to GOG, who's owned by CD Projekt Red...
what?
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
I love it.
You would still keep your game. You own it. And another bonus of that, and the second one, is that with GOG, more money goes to the developers. So when you buy a game on GOG, you're actually supporting the developer more than you are on, for just PC purposes, that you are on like Steam or Epic. Because GOG gives more money to the developers. I think Epic is doing some deals as well. But I know for Steam specifically, that was a big thing. When you're on Steam, because Steam is massive, Steam knows it. They get a good chunk, and it's just kind of like, we get a good chunk because you get to be on our platform, and everybody knows what Steam is. With GOG, they give more money to the developers. And heck, it's why I bought Cyberpunk on GOG. Because one, I get to own it, and since GOG is owned by Cyberpunk, I'm ensuring that my entire $59.99 is going to CD Projekt Red. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
And so the fact that Konami games are going on GOG, I can see why, because I feel like Konami wants to make sure that It's like, oh yeah, we want to have our characters. We want to have our gamers like have that DRM free experience. We want them to just be able to play the game and not be worried about online services messing up and not being able to play. So I think it's a cool move,
so cool.
And I would assume that was probably their thought process. Because yeah, you would lose money if you went to Steam. You get a little bit more money on GOG. You have the nice DRM free, which is a huge thing. People love the fact that it's DRM free. And it's just, I don't know, it's a really good platform. And like GOG is just, dude, they're expanding so well. It's like an all-in-one platform that whenever you load it up, you can even integrate all your stuff into it. So like on my GOG, like, I forget, what are these things called? These launchers.
Launchers, yeah.
On my GOG launcher, I have my Epic store bound to it, my Steam store, my GOG store. You can put your PlayStation store in here, your Xbox. You can see literally all your games. And for PC, if I want to play a Steam game, I can just play the Steam game through the GOG launcher. It like opens it up through Steam, but it's like a one spot hub.
That's
GOG,
so cool.
dude, is dope.
Okay.
I know that's like kind of going a little off of it, but GOG.
No, I love that you said this because now when I get my PC, like I'm gonna want to get Cyberpunk on GOG.
Oh yeah, yeah. So here it is. Cyberpunk is just chilling. For those that can't see, I see the little Cyberpunk card in my GOG thing. Released on November 18th. So yeah, I like that Konami decided to go through the route of, okay, if we're gonna go to PC, let's do it right.
Yeah, I think it's really cool.
It'll be interesting to see too if like 4 comes out on it. Because I've never played
Solid 4.
Yeah, I've never played that game.
Oh my god, it was so good, dude. Metal Gear Solid 4. A lot of people will say it's like a movie, and honestly, it is. Like it's more story than anything. That's probably why I love it so much.
Yeah,
but I'm talking like 30-minute cutscenes. I'm talking like not a lot of action here. Okay. Like there's gameplay, but literally half of the game is all cutscene.
It's okay. So man. I've actually only played 5. That's been the only game I've ever played. Was Metal Gear 5.
Well, Metal Gear Solid 5 does have the best gameplay of all of them. So,
yeah. Okay, that's good. I just never. I don't know. I just never got into the Metal Gears. I think were they originally on a PlayStation?
Yeah, they were always usually first on PlayStation. I think you can play some of them. Some of them were like released on Nintendo consoles. I think maybe just Metal Gear Solid Snake or Twin Snakes. I think was like a kind of like a remix of Metal Gear Solid 1. I actually don't know if you can play them on Xbox. At least the earlier ones.
Yeah, I know 5. I bought 5 on the Xbox.
Yeah, you can play 5 on the Xbox. I don't know if you could play any of the earlier ones on it.
I don't think so.
I could be wrong, but I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, speaking of, games releasing on consoles.
Oh, yeah.
I guess we should talk about games released this week. And really, there are only really 2 big games that came to mind. I don't know if you find any that really kind of spoke to you this week.
I know mine's the same as yours.
Mafia Definitive Edition.
That is, I'm looking at the list, and that's pretty much the only one I care about.
Which currently has a 76 on Metacritic, which is not bad. That's actually pretty.
Have you seen the gameplay yet?
Yes, the gameplay looks so sick.
So good.
Honestly, Mafia 1, for those of you that haven't played the Mafia series, these games are good. The first 2 games, Mafia 1 and Mafia 2, are very good. Story of Mafia 1 is very, very good. It's very Godfather-esque, like kind of like old school.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give that one a shot. I'm probably going to wait till it's on sale. But
is it? I assume it's 60.
I don't know, actually. I don't know if it's 60. While you look that up, I can... basically with Mafia, you're talking about old school gangsters. 40? Yeah, I like that.
That's not bad.
Not bad at all. And so you kind of get to play as men. You know, they're holding the old guns with the, I don't even know. Tommy guns. You got your fedora hats. You got people
old cars.
Yeah, old cars. So it's the good times, the good times of crime. And these games are so fun. Mafia hasn't gotten a lot of love lately. Mafia 3 was kind of a disappointment. It wasn't great. It was very repetitive and very streamlined, and it was kind of glitchy too, to the points that we were making of Bethesda. But I'm kind of excited to see if Mafia 1 Definitive Edition It turns out to be even better than I remember it. Because, yes, the gameplay, the new trailers I've seen of it, it looks like they've completely remade it. And I love it. I think it looks so cool.
Yeah, and right now on Steam, we're at an 86% of
Nice.
2,235 reviews. So it's doing...
That's great.
Yeah, it's doing really good. I watched Dan's Gaming on Twitch play this game, and
Nice.
I played 2, and
Yep.
I never played 1. And I'm pretty eager. I think for me, I think I would pay the $40 because
would
I
too.
haven't played before.
I probably would too, honestly. Yeah.
That's not too bad. And it's on PC, so I might do it on PC.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, out of the games that I see, that's the only release this week that I would say is like big. We did miss Crysis Remastered last week. That came out on last Friday. I want to only bring that up because Crysis is like a PC destroyer.
Oh, really?
Crysis is known as like, Crysis 3 is always known as like the game
It breaks your PC?
Because like it's so demanding, so a lot of people would say like on ultra settings, this graphics card can play Crysis at this setting. When it first came out, it was like destroying graphics cards because they couldn't handle it. So Crysis Remastered itself came out last Friday for PC. But it looks like other than that, we have Tennis World Tour 2, 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim.
Yes. Can I speak on that one really quick? That is actually the other one other than Mafia that I was really excited for.
With an 86.
Yeah, it has an 86 on Metacritic. The developers of this are Vanillaware. You may know some of their games as Dragon's Crown, or they also did, I believe, Odin Sphere was the name of it. Games are graphically beautiful, and they have kind of switched up their gameplay in this game where it's kind of... It's very anime-esque.
Oh, yeah.
It's visual novel. But then the actual like fighting gameplay of it is you play as 13 teenagers living in the country of Japan, and they all have these like mechanized, huge like Gundam-esque like
mechs and stuff.
Mechs that they have to
like actual like mechs you ride in, or just like external kind of like you wear it thing?
Oh no, like you ride in it, like something that's like stories high.
Gotcha.
And they go to battle in these mechs and protect their city from these like outside sources. I haven't played the game yet, so I don't know what they are, but they seem to be alien in nature.
Yeah.
But the main gameplay of it is very visual novel-esque, very 2D, like you're kind of side-scrolling and playing as depending on whose story you're playing as, you can play as 13 characters, see all their different sides.
So that's like the 13 number.
Yeah, the 13 Sentinels. The Sentinels are the 13 kids. And so you're playing as them, and you're going into these mechs throughout the different chapters and just fighting in this very strategy-based like grid system. So like you kind of just... It sucks because from the gameplay I've seen, you don't really get to see the mechs close up, like fighting things. Like it's very much an outside grid of the city itself. And you're just kind of having to decide, okay, here's a massive amount of enemies ahead of me. Do I use my laser beam attack that just completely annihilates a whole line of them, or what?
It's actually a real-time strategy.
Yeah, real-time
That's
strategy.
dope.
That's the term I was looking for. Thank you.
So it's possible real-time. That's...
Yeah,
okay.
It looks really cool. It's gotten really rave reviews for its story. I can't wait to play it. And I'm a huge fan of Vanillaware's artwork. It's a beautiful looking game. But if you are a fan of visual novels or anything Japanese anime-esque, I highly recommend you check this game out. It is the talk of the town this week, and people are really raving about it.
Yeah, I'll have to check this out because I know possible real-time strategies has me peaked if it's like what I'm thinking of, because I have there's games like Pillars of Eternity that is like that pause gameplay. You have characters, units, and you let them fight, and then you like pause to like change and like do spells and stuff.
Yeah,
I do love those kind of games. The one thing that does turn me off is it's on PS4, only because I like when I do my strategy games, I like my key bindings and I like the keyboard and the mouse to be able to like control and highlight units and stuff.
Right.
I always mess up because I'm not accurate on the controller, so I'll select a unit and I'm like, oh, I click on the move button, but I accidentally hit the attack button, and then I screw everything up. So I get really aggravated on console RTSs. But I'm gonna look this up. I actually might consider doing this down the road for sure.
Yeah, I'm eventually going to get it on the PS4, and I'll definitely tell you how it is. I can already tell you though, this is my cup of tea. I mean, it's a visual novel.
Looks great. Reviews are amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's 13 teenagers riding oversized mechs, like
dope.
Like just
a kid's dream.
Right, like basically just it reminds me of like really good anime of like kids that are just kind of having to handle things outside of their natural scope of life, where it's like, oh, all of a sudden we're in a life and death match against these like forces that could destroy our families. And so it'd be really cool to see how that story unfolds and how it ends, because it seems very dark in terms of its like a lot of gray tones, a lot of like watercolor textures, and so it makes me wonder, like, are all 13 Sentinels going to be alive by the end of this game? I don't know. Are some of them going to die? Or can they die depending on your actions? Like, if you don't do well in the RTS functions.
How dark is the game?
Right, I don't know. Yeah. And I love dark games, so give it all.
Yeah, let's see how it goes. Well, that's in the future, so let's talk about it now.
Yes.
What are games that we are playing, let's say this week? And then maybe, is there a new game you're planning on next week, or is the same game going to probably still be in your arsenal next week?
Cool. Do you want to start, or should I?
I can go. I'll start first.
Okay.
So games that I'm playing this week was Borderlands 3.
Nice.
I was playing Borderlands 3. I was just craving a shooter. And so I decided to do a new character. I was doing it on stream, and it was fun. It's a great game. The concept of it, I feel like most people know what Borderlands is, but it's a cel-shaded art style video game. It's a first-person shooter, and you go around a few worlds, and you're trying to find a map to a vault. In Borderlands 3 specifically, you're going against these two, they call them Children of the Vaults. They're like these cult leaders, and it's like crazy dialogue. There's like weird psycho bandits, and there's just like a bunch of funny going on and like over the top kind of humor and everything. But the feel of the game is amazing. And I'm playing it on console right now. I'm playing on a PC. Feels amazing in the mouse and in the keyboard. So it's been a really fun game. And then next week, starting tomorrow, I will be down. I am stoked. I've been waiting to tell you about this all week, and I've been holding this in.
Oh my god!
There is a game that is called Genshin Impact.
What?
Dude,
what is this?
This is going to be great. So Genshin Impact is an upcoming game, and people might get mad for me saying this because it's not 100% like it, but it is like, imagine Breath of the Wild went anime, and you have like a bunch of playable characters that you get to have, and you go around a like open world thing, and you got like, dude, there's just so much. They have like a manga that they've written. There's a bajillion, not really. There's like 20 or so different playable characters that all have their own little lore behind them. The website is loading like crap right now, but I will show him afterwards if I can ever get it going.
I was gonna say
it's called Genshin Impact.
I may need to.
Dude, it's cool, and it's gonna be on PlayStation, PC, not Switch, maybe Switch later, and mobile. It's actually going to be on iOS and Android, and it's cross-platform. You can play with anybody on anything. From what I know, it's free to play in the beginning, and it's multiplayer. And starting tomorrow, which is Saturday the 26th, you can download it, pre-download it. I know on PC, maybe for the other consoles as well. But yeah, Genshin Impact, Genshin Impact. It looks crazy. Gosh. I'll probably be showing Max after the podcast because it's taking literally forever to load, so we'll get there afterwards. But imagine, like I said, for those that are listening, imagine Breath of the Wild meets anime plus some. You got multiple characters you can play as. The art style is still that same beautifulness. You can climb, and there's a stamina bar. It's totally like how Breath of the Wild is. And it just, dude, it looks good. So that's coming up in a gameplay for next week.
I am so excited to see this.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Come Monday, Twitch TV /Mr. Teenator. I'll be streaming it live.
Plug it. Nice.
So we'll see. But what about you? What are you playing?
Gosh, okay. Nowhere near anything that exciting. So this week I'm still playing the Super Mario 3D All-Stars.
Yes.
I probably honestly will be for the next few weeks.
Yeah.
Really.
Do you start? Which one did you start with? 64.
So I am playing with my wife Ruthie through 64.
Okay.
I
know we talked about that
last
week.
And I started Sunshine because that's one that I really just never really got into as a kid, and I am loving it, dude.
Yeah.
Like I don't remember Sunshine like this.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just the controls are tighter. I don't know if they nice little polish with the graphics. I don't know, but I'm loving it. I'm about 20 shines in, and I'm just. It's so cool just seeing all the mapped areas. It feels very cohesive. Like, whereas Super Mario 64 and Mario Galaxy are very much like you have your HUD, your hub world, either the castle or the Galaxy Station.
Yeah.
And then you just kind of go into these random like little mini areas. I never noticed this before, but with Sunshine, like it all feels connected. Like even when you go into like Pinto, I'm butchering the names of the areas, but like Pinto Park or the village area, I just feel like I'm going to a different section of the one island. Yeah. And so it's like I'm like everywhere that I'm cleaning up and getting rid of graffiti, like it all feels like it's going towards just the whole scrub of the island, point taken. But I'm loving it, man. It's still very frustrating. I feel like, controlling FLUDD is still very hard to do in some ways. I never feel like I have full control of Mario, which I never had an issue with in 64 or in Galaxy. So that's a little frustrating. But I feel like as an older gamer as I am now, when this game came out in like 2002, I feel like I have the skills more than required to beat this game, and I'm enjoying every second of it. I love it so much. So it's fun because it almost feels like I'm playing an entirely different game. But yeah, that's what I'm playing this week. I'm also playing just here and there. I don't know why. I don't know why I got this game. I got it before Mario came out, and it's a game I want to play with Peter whenever he'll come over. But I bought Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm 4.
Yes.
On the PlayStation for like I got it for like $10.
Bro, that game is dope.
It is so dope.
It's so much fun.
I haven't watched Naruto since I was like in high school.
Gosh, you got such a good one too.
But yeah,
Storm 4 is so good.
The only reason I went with Storm 4 is because it literally was every single character from the previous games. So I was just like, why would I buy the first three when I could just buy the fourth one?
And the story's all caught up.
Yeah, the story's all caught up. I actually get into the Boruto stuff.
Yeah,
even
dude.
Though,
yes.
And so
yes, Max.
and so I'm playing it, and the fighting is addictive. I think I literally spent.
Oh, I'm so happy right now.
Just between last week and this week, I think I spent just multiple hours just playing as every single playable character that I can in versus, just so I could see their ultimate moves and their fighting styles, just so I could like grab like my 5 key players.
Yeah.
And I found them, but it's addicting. The gameplay is so much fun, even in versus the comm. At first, it seems very simple. Like, you don't have to know any like crazy like button presses like you do in like fighting games. This is a fighting game, but in the sense of it's all spectacle in a lot of ways. But there is a lot of there is skill to it.
Oh, for sure.
And that's what I love about it. I normally do not play games online. I play this online just to fight people with my favorite characters. I play as Zabuza. I play as Mike Guy.
My heart.
Yeah, I play as Mike Guy, who's totally a ripoff of Bruce Lee now that I'm old enough to realize that.
For sure.
And then I also play as a few other characters that are not coming to mind at the moment, which is totally fine. But if you like anime, I feel like every game we've been playing is anime styled, but like we're such geeks in that way. But it's great. This is calling all nerds. It's just so addictive. It's so much fun. You really don't even have to play it for the story. Just play it like it's a fun game to play with your friend and just fight each other.
$10, bro.
Yeah, $10. I don't know if it's still $10 on the PlayStation Store, but if it is, I mean, it's TGS. They're probably selling these Japanese games like crazy for really low.
Yeah.
Pick this up. even if you don't know Naruto, it's just a fun fighting game, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful game.
Doing the ultimates are fun too. You do like your ultimate finisher moves and stuff.
It's so much. It's
so cool.
And that's why I just went through all there are 131 playable characters in this game. Literally every character that was in this Naruto show of 500 episodes, you can play as probably.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Dope. It's amazing. They put so much love and care in it.
I'm so happy that you're playing that. It is a good game.
Honestly, those are going to be probably the two games I'll be playing for the next few weeks.
Fair enough. And so I think it's time for our last segment, which we are going to coin right now as Entertainment of the Week.
Yes.
The entertainment itself could change. I think we're kind of sticking it to... Well, no, I feel like... Will we consider books as our entertainment too, maybe?
Yeah, I mean,
like games, books.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, when we decided we wanted to do this podcast, games is definitely our focal point. Yeah. I would say for the podcast, but we can talk about anything. Be it video games, be it books, movies, TV shows, anime, board games, anything you can think of that is you just love in nerd culture. We will talk about it. In this segment, or even, and honestly, I was kind of thinking about this too with everything going on with COVID. Obviously, you don't see a lot of movie movement right now, so that's probably something that we won't touch on for a while. Yeah. But TV shows, anime, books, like we'll be talking about it over the next few weeks. Really, really great things that we've been introduced to or we've known for a long time that we think that the audience would gain a lot from diving into.
Okay, perfect. So this week, for the entertainment of the week, is none other than beautiful anime. And so Max has the entertainment of the week. Lay it on us, Max. What is the anime of the week?
First off, I just want to say that I love the sound.
It's my sub notification.
Yeah, we need to just keep adding these sound cues as this show progresses. We just need to add stuff. We can even make up our own songs.
Oh, sure.
We don't want any copyright infringement.
That's right. No, thank you.
But I love that sound cue. Yes. The entertainment of the week I wanted to bring to everyone's attention is an anime. It's actually an anime that I totally would have bypassed if Tyler, my amazing friend here, had not given me, or had not, what's the right word I'm looking for? Pretty much like...
Gave you the push.
Yeah, gave me the push, convinced me to give it another shot. Yeah. And it is a Netflix original show that you can watch on Netflix right now. And it is titled The 7 Deadly Sins. So good. I watched this for the first time like 2 or 3 years ago. Watched the first 3 episodes. It really didn't grab me. And now I'm on season 3. And it is unbelievably good. This is, I would say, a shonen anime. For those of you that don't know what shonen means, this is a show that's very battle-centered. Yeah. There's a good story to it, but it's very much like shows like Naruto or Bleach
that's OP.
Or Dragon Ball Z. Yeah, you got OP characters, you got teams and organizations of people that you just know are just this amount of numbered people to fight against this amount of numbered people. And it's set in this medieval setting, very Camelot, Arthur and his round table, holy knights, like very medieval and kind of stuff that you really don't see that much of in anime, especially in the shonen genre. And it is a show about just completely OP people just living in this fantasy world where you're fighting demons, there's goddesses, or gods as well, I should say. There are demons from the demon realm, holy knights that have crazy powers that no normal human would have, and then you have your main cast of the 7 deadly sins, which are not
good people.
They are good people, which you would not pick up from the prologue of the show, as they are, and I won't ruin anything, they have been framed for an act that they did not commit. So when you first hear of them, even in the first few episodes, you're kind of unsure about them. You kind of don't know what side of the law they stand on. Are they good people? Are they bad people? And honestly, they're pretty flawed people in their own right. They're all of them are different races, different types of people. One of them is immortal. One of them is a fairy. One of them is a giant. And this, it's so cool that they're all different in their own way, and they're all super overpowered in their own way. But what I will praise more than anything in this show, and why I wanted to call it the anime of the week, is the pacing, the story and the pacing. Yeah. This show is non-stop action. Yep. Not only non-stop action, but you have to give credit, at least I do, you have to give credit to a show when it has pacing where you feel like you literally just sat down and all of a sudden it's over and you ask yourself, wait, it's over already? Mm-hmm. That was 25 minutes? No, it can't be. No, that is good quality right there. Because not only does this show have kick butt just storytelling, great thrilling tales to tell, the action's incredible, and you honestly do not know what's going to happen around the next corner. It kind of subverts your expectations to a lot of what shonen used to be in the era of like Naruto and Bleach and One Piece. It's very different, and they're not afraid to show a lot of things romantically in terms of like characters that fall in love with each other. You don't have to circle around that whole just annoyance that you have in anime. It's like, oh, will they ever tell each other they love each other? Yeah. No, you don't have to deal with that here, bro. And it's awesome. You get to enjoy.
To the point.
Yeah, it's to the point. I can't praise this show enough. Please get on Netflix if you have a subscription and watch this show. It is so worth your time. The 4th season was just released on it. I'm a few episodes into season 3. I plan to watch it all the way through. And then early next year, will be season 5 will be releasing on Netflix. And lastly, if you're worried about having to wait years and years for this to end, the manga, the original source material, has ended as of this year. So Netflix has already stated that they will be bringing out the seasons pretty quickly in between because they don't have anything to wait on anymore. Yep. I love in anime when you don't have to worry about them catching up and dealing with filler. Just give us the good stuff.
Yep. And you know it'll end.
And let it end. Right. It'll end. It'll have a definitive ending. Ending is paramount. And so, yes, I cannot stress it enough. Watch this show, especially if you like medieval, if you like shonen. This is for you.
Perfect. You heard it from Mad Max himself, folks. Go watch 7 Deadly Sins, or else he's coming with you with an epic car in a post-apocalyptic world. But I think that is it for the 2nd episode. It's really exciting. I can't preface the smile on my face enough. I kind of just want to say thank you to anybody who watched and listened to our first episode. Thank you to you right now. If you've gotten this far at episode 2, we're like an hour and a half in, and if you've made it to the end, you're hearing me say this, I know Max has the same feeling. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Seriously. For just giving us this opportunity, this chance to kind of do something that we've wanted to do for a while. And I just appreciate you guys.
Yes, I want to echo what you just said, Tyler. Thank you all, especially to, I'm sure it's mostly family and friends for these first few episodes that are listening to us. We really appreciate you guys supporting us. Yeah. Hi, Mom. You have no idea what I'm talking about. But seriously, it means the world to us. It's exciting to talk about all this stuff that we normally like to talk about anyway, but now we get to talk about it and you get to be a part of it. And just, I'm excited if you stick around with us. Hopefully, as the weeks and months go by, as long as this stays steady, like we'll just keep adding to it and making it more personalized and fun and high tech with more fun anime sounds or other things for the entertainment of the week. Yep. But to end out, I would be remiss to not say, Tyler, please plug your stuff again because you are doing amazing stuff on Twitch. So I know you already did it, but do it again.
Yeah. So you can follow us on our socials. We're going to be getting Max here on Twitter here soon for sure. But you can follow me on Twitter and Twitch /Mr. T Nader. That's MRTNADER. The links to all this also will be in the description of the YouTube video. And then you can also follow me on Instagram, which is Mr_T Nader for me. And then for Max.
Yes, you can also follow me on Instagram at MadMax528. And I never post anything, but you can follow me if you wish.
We're going to give him a Twitter.
Yeah.
That's going to happen.
Tyler, trust me, I already ordered a PC. It'll get here by next year. It's taking forever. And I'm going to get squarely into the PC world and the Twitter world and the Twitch and all that jazz. So I'm excited.
We'll get him some stuff.
I'm excited to join it.
But I think that's going to be it for us. So appreciate you guys. Have a good rest of wherever it might be that you are. Mornings, evening, nights. Who knows? But that's us signing off. Ooh. Have a good one. Peace.
That was good.